Hello. I have been on a bit of an adventure recently to somewhere called CASS Art, CASSART, and they are a art shop, to put it simply, who are based in the UK, and they have shops in Bristol and London, and I think maybe a couple up north. I'm not too sure. However, I went there the other day, and before I pack everything away, I thought I'd show you what I got and what I want to get up to with it. Hi, my name's Charlotte, and welcome to my studio. So, as you might see, I'm having a bit of a cosy day in the studio. I've got my hoodie on from the Royal International Air Tattoo that I was at a few weeks ago, and I'm just having a little sort. The portrait behind me is Zoe and Emma. They might stare you down throughout this. However, they are the biggest portrait that I've done in my style. And it went with me to Mulberry Open Studios, and she hasn't found a home yet in our house. We've got a spare bedroom that she was in, but I want to empty that and paint it, so I don't necessarily want them going back up there. So for now, she's behind me, but I'm hopefully going to put her on that wall so it isn't there the whole time I'm recording YouTube videos. But CASS Art. I had high expectations when I went there because I know it to be a very lovely place where you can find lots and lots of art materials, from children's materials and kits all the way through to the poshest pencils I have ever seen, and that I can't wait to use because, yeah, I got some. I tried to limit myself to a budget, but when I saw these bad boys, the Faber-Castell Polychromos, they're so new, I haven't even unwrapped them. I couldn't help myself. So I already have the Prismacolor, but I know the Polychromos are the leading kind of pencils. You might say that the Prismacolor there's a fight in the art world, but now I have both. And this is the full set of 120, so there is no limitations on colour, and I hope to work on some of my pet portraits with these, as well as look at some human coloured portraits, because believe it or not, I've still only ever done one coloured portrait of a person, and that was a painting of myself at university. That was a long time ago. So I hope to explore colour with these. Like, look at the colours on the back. It's just gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. So these are the bad boys of the set that I got. As an artist, I use a lot of paper, a lot of canvas, kind of any drawing material really. So behind me here, I bought 3 1 metre by 1 metre, and then I've got a few smaller ones. So I prefer working in 1 metre by 1 metre for my faces, as I think it's just got more of a presence, but I know not everyone can fit this size of canvas. So I also picked up a couple of 30 by 30 inches, which is just a little bit smaller. Past there, some 60 by 60 centimetres. If you ever work with canvases, you'll be switching between centimetres and inches all the time. I don't know why they do it. And lastly, behind here, what were those? 70 by 80? 60 by 80? 60 by 80. So in total, I got 11 canvases, because apparently the 2 canvases in the corner and my stack of canvases in my shelves here and here, you can't see them, aren't enough. But they were all, oh, and there's some down there as well. But these are definitely different sizes, and sizes that when I looked at them I had plans for them. So for 3 big ones I'm going to do some more faces, for the 2 smaller ones I'm going to do the same as well, and then I wanted to play around with style and composition as well for the different sized ones. And I'm used to working on deep edge canvas, so something like this, so it's got a very deep edge, whereas something like these, so this is a pack of 3, they are not deep edge. I don't know, is it just stretch canvas? It's just stretch canvas, so it does have the same wood on the back, however it's often then framed or stylized, so you don't often see the edge of the canvas. There is something over that, and that's not something that I necessarily go into, so that's going to be a little adventure on the side. Speaking of drawing and painting surfaces though, I did pick up some handmade paper. I've tried to make paper myself previously. It was as part of a project again in university, but I'll tell you now, it was the most painful process I think I have tried to do, and I've developed my own brain fart. And I've developed my own film, so I'm also not the most patient. I think with the film there's a timer, but with this you've just got to get it right, and I wasn't feeling it. So instead I have purchased 20 pages of A4, and this is gorgeous. If I try and show you, is it going to do it? It's concentrating on me. So the surface is lovely and rough, which means that I really want to do some watercolour and pencil pieces, some like abstract lined sort of designs. So I'm hoping this would be good for it. In terms of watercolour though, and it will make sense why I've picked all this up, I bought a watercolour pad, 50 sheets of beautiful watercolour paper, and again it's got a really nice surface. So if you think about printer paper, that's super smooth. This is what we call 300 GSM, so it's just slightly rougher, because otherwise the watercolour will just sit on the page and it just doesn't like it. So with this style of paper, it means that the watercolour has kind of something to grab onto, and it means it will also stay in place. Because if you've ever worked with watercolour and smooth paper, it's almost as if the watercolour wants to slide around, whereas with rougher paper, such as this, you will definitely have a little bit more control. So I've got 50 sheets, and I feel like these might be my practice before I go on to the handmade paper, because that stuff's fancy. As always, I'm a collector of sketchbooks. Yes, another one. So I don't actually have any A4 sketchbooks that are ring bound. So I find ring bound sketchbooks really good to work with, because if you like a piece, you can then take it out and you can photograph it on its own, get it scanned, frame it, etc, etc. So having this is super useful. I also really enjoy that you can lay these flat, whereas some hardbound you can't lay flat, and you kind of had that weird surface on it. And I am one to fold in halves, and I've got a little bit of a raised platform as well. So one of these was completely necessary. I'll add it to the pile. So I've gone through the pencils and all the sort of materials to draw and paint on. I was overly excited, and some of you might be like, why are we excited about this? Framing tape. I used so much of this. So whenever I frame any of my prints, because I do it all by hand, I always pop this stuff on top. Not only does it make it more professional, but it also seals it so there's no dust coming in, no extra dirt that you don't want in your framing. So if you are an artist, or if you want to frame any of your pieces at home, whether that be other people's artwork or things that you've bought online, etc, etc, I would highly recommend this. It is easy to peel off. I say easy, it's not designed to peel off, but if, for example, you want to replace the item in the frame, you can. It's not like it's hot glue. Do you know what I mean? I'm gonna stop there. This is what happens when someone lets me ramble. And the other really, really cool thing that I've been hunting for ages, and you don't understand how long I've been hunting for one of these, is a mount board cutter. So these bad boys cut at a exact 45-degree angle. So you pop the ruler down and it cuts at that 45-degree angle to get your perfect mount board cut. And it just, again, it makes things look so professional. I now don't need to specifically draw to a certain size, because I used to have to draw to a certain size or get my prints to a certain size because I didn't have one of these, whereas now I can kind of get any frame that I want and fit it to any of the artwork that I want. And that also includes getting frames and mounts that are different colours, so I can play around with colours, make things pop. I had a cross stitch done previously, and it's a double mount where there's a small colour bit and then the rest of it's, I want to say, like a cream colour, and it can make things really pop in the artwork, and it does make the difference. So I am very excited to use that one. The rest of it, I'll do one more before I say the rest of it. Fixative. So if you do any drawings and you want to protect them, get some of this. I haven't used some in a while because I haven't had any. So I knew that it was imperative to pick up some of this. This is Winsor & Newton Professional, and it ensures that your piece is protected from dust and hands. I've had people touch my work and you're like, oh, you're smudging that, and they don't even know. So if you are worried about smudging, dust, etc, definitely get some fixative. It will save you in many circumstances. It'll also help if you are giving something as a gift, or if you're a professional artist who is doing commission, as it saves, for example, if you're not giving it framed, it saves someone's fingers getting all over it. So now the rest is actual painting materials. So it doesn't actually look like much of a big pile in front of me. This that you can see in the corner is probably the biggest thing, other than this bad boy. I keep calling things bad boys because this is a hefty load of titanium white paint, because I go through this like water, literally like water. Everything that you see in the painting behind me is either created with purple, turquoise, black or white. There is a hell of a lot of white in that painting, and so I need one of these quite often. I don't normally buy them in this big of a tub. I normally buy them in tubes. However, when I saw the price of this, I was like, I am getting that one. This is a System 3 acrylic, so I'm an acrylic painter. Mainly acrylic painter, and System 3 is something that I've been using for years, and it has a really good quality to it, so I would highly recommend for any type of artist. That was the only acrylic that I purchased. However, we did get some very nice paint brushes, because you can never have too many. The ones that I really like at the moment are a bit battered and bruised, so I knew that I needed some more paintbrushes to make sure that I get those smooth lines that I aim for on my work. The rest of it though is materials that I don't often use. So I hinted earlier that thought the watercolour paper would come in handy, and that's because I bought 1, 2, let's see if I can get them all in one hand, 3, 4, 5, 6, oh no, we're not going to, I'll do 6. Need 2 hands for that. 7, 8. 8 watercolour half pans, if I come closer. There we go. So everything ranging from a yellow ochre, which is one of my favourite colours, I say one of, it is my favourite colour, all the way through to a pink rose, cobalt violet, olive green, and some darker pinks and greens as well. And it was one of those things that I looked at these colours and I was like, oh, they're amazing. Watercolour I find is much harder to mix. I am not a watercolour artist, so I haven't really sat down with watercolour long enough to get around its nuances. So I thought, why not just buy the colour instead of trying to make it? It works. You know, can't fault me. But I also saw what's called metallic. I haven't even opened the box yet. This is how kind of fresh everything is in my studio. And what do we have here? We have iridescent blue, yellow gold, bronze, red copper, silver pewter, iridescent black and iridescent white. And I have a few projects coming up where I know these will absolutely come in handy, and I think it will really make the pieces. It's just something that you don't often get to play with unless you go to a store like that or go online. But sometimes it's always nice to walk around and be like, oh, what's this? You pick it up and you're like, oh, yes. So the very last thing that purchased, I haven't played around with this material actually. It's, I want to say goulash. Someone tell me in the comments. However, this tin is gouache and watercolour. So I know that the style of painting, basically the less water you use, the more kind of like acrylic it is. And then if you use quite a lot of water, it is a watercolour kind of feel to it. So it's kind of that in between of acrylic and watercolour. So again, completely wrapped still, and it's also in a very useful tin, so I can take it out and about with me, and I feel like it will be a little bit nicer to take out and about than perhaps acrylics or watercolours, as it will give me the intensity and the depth of colour that I perhaps look for, as well as sort of making it quite free and enjoyable to use in the moment. So with this, I really want to go out and about with them. I want to try and see what colours I can get with them and really explore what this medium can give me. So overall, it was a really lovely experience at CASS Art. The people there were really friendly and they asked if we needed any assistance, and even helped carry this stuff to the car with us, as carrying all those canvases between 2 people, a bit difficult. They had the knowledge on where everything was in the store, as well as the materials themselves, and they weren't artists. I had a chat with them, I'd say like I'm a professional artist, which they found really cool, so I was like, oh, thanks. But it was really nice to know that non-professional or non-practicing artists or creators or anything, they still knew what the materials could do, which is sometimes quite rare. So I thank you, CASS Art, for your service and your product range and the wonderful, wonderful time I had in your Bristol store. I can't wait. I actually can't wait to use some of this, but I need to do some admin first. So without further ado, I will leave you be and I will see you next time.